The Biobank of the Public Health System of Andalusia is a platform that provides a network of resources aimed at supporting biomedical research and the scientific community with a common ethical and legal framework. It is closely linked to the public health system of Andalusia and composed of all the structures and units that can obtain, process and preserve cells, tissues, substances and biological samples for clinical or research purposes, which are the nodes of the Biobank. The main mission of the Biobank is to provide users with the largest and best options of blood or blood-derived products, tissues and substances, or biological samples of human origin for use in healthcare, but also in research and teaching. The services. The Biobank provides support and actively participates in the planning and implementation and follow-up of biomedical research projects through its portfolio of services, provision of samples and associated clinical data, processing of samples, preservation and biorespiratory, management of logistics, training, provision of advice, customised and tailored services. Provision of samples and associated clinical data. The Biobank has biological samples from subjects with various diseases and also healthy controls. They are provided with their associated data for research purposes and selected according to the clinical and diagnostic criteria specified by the researchers who request them. For biological samples and associated data that is not available in its stock, the Biobank has other ways to obtain them. It activates prospective sample collection circuits in hospitals and health centres, and the Registry of Donors of Samples for Biomedical Research of Andalusia. Fresh tissue samples, paraffin wax tissue derivatives, frozen tissue derivatives, blood and blood derivatives, body fluids and faeces, nucleic acids, cell lines, all available for biomedical research. Processing of samples. The Biobank has several units for processing biological samples. The Sample Stabilisation Unit, the Cell Line Unit, the Histological Quality Control Unit, and the Genetic and Biomaker Quality Control Unit. The Sample Stabilisation Unit processes biological samples as fast as possible once they've been obtained from donors to maintain and preserve their qualities. This unit also designs and prepares protocols and sample collection kits for various projects that require the prospective recruitment of donors. The Cell Line Unit of the Biobank is devoted to cell cultures in a secure space with Level 2 biological contention. It is in charge of the generation, expansion, maintenance and cryptopreservation of the various cell types generated in the area. The Histological Quality Control Unit uses a broad array of techniques to prepare the tissues and/or cells for histological and cytological studies. Some of the techniques most widely used are the inclusion of samples in paraffin and/or OCT, direct freezing with liquid nitrogen, cytospin, microtonomy, histochemical and immunohistochemical techniques, and the development of tissue matrices. The digitisation and analysis of histological and cytological preparations is another service provided by this unit of the Biobank. Several high-resolution scanners are available to obtain high-quality digital preparations, as well as several types of software for their analysis. Molecular biology and cytogenetics are the two sections of the Genetic and Biomaker Quality Control Unit. The Nucleic Acids and Molecular Biology Unit has equipment and scientific instruments to implement a great variety of techniques and ways of processing biological samples, such as the purification and alloquoting of nucleic acids, which enable the processing of any type of biological samples to obtain DNA or RNA, and their corresponding full quality control, spectrophotometry, fluorometry, and integrity. In this unit's equipment, it's worth noting the Quan Studio 6 thermocycler, which allows the implementation and setting up of real-time PCR, and the last generation capillary sequencer for the analysis and microsatellite fragments and Sanger sequencing. The conventional and molecular cytogenetic service performs chromosomal tests of cell lines and fully characterises cell lines of various types and pluripotent cell lines, an essential requirement for storing pluripotent cells in the biobank. The unit has 2 stations for the capture and analysis of images, equipped with fluorescence microscopy and bright field magnifiers, as well as a spectral karyotyping station for the chromosomal analysis of complex lines. Preservation and biorespiratory. The biobank includes facilities for the preservation and conservation of biological samples, liquid nitrogen tanks at -190 degrees Celsius, controlled ramp freezing equipment for cell lines, ultrafreezers at -80 degrees Celsius storage and 20 degrees Celsius, 40 degrees Celsius and ambient temperature. It also has the necessary infrastructure and control systems to ensure its integrity, safety and traceability. Management and logistics. The biobank has broad experience in supporting multi-centred projects through the development of protocols, the preparation of collection kits, and the management of shipments with the necessary documentation in accordance with current legislation. Training. Training is another key service for the biobank. The training unit contributes to the updating and capacity building of healthcare professionals, researchers, teachers and students of biomedical professions. To do so, the biobank implements several training programs and activities, such as in-person and online ongoing training courses, accredited by the Andalusian Healthcare Quality Agency, ACSA, and provides curricular and extracurricular practical training at various levels of education. Provision of advice. The biobank also provides advice on issues related to its service provision activity, ethical legal aspects of the implementation of biomedical research projects, management of applications, techniques and methods of obtaining samples, treatment, characterisation and quality control, preservation and storage of biological samples, also at the organisation or establishment level. The biobank can also be formally asked for advice on very diverse issues, such as the organisation and development of biobanks for the purpose of biomedical research, or the establishment of quality management systems in the area of biobanks. Customised or tailored services. Apart from all the services described so far, the biobank also provides customised or tailored services, analysing each particular scenario, since the needs of research projects can be very diverse. Each project is unique. The Biobank of the Public Health System of Andalusia, a platform of resources for researching, curing, donating and training.